You know what I want to know? You know what I want to know? You know what I want to know? I want to know how to make a difference in tech. Yeah, and we're here with Morgan Stanley to learn about how to make a difference in tech. Y'all, I want to introduce to you the executive director from Morgan Stanley. We have Kem Okonkwo, an executive director at Morgan Stanley, specializing in automation, bringing infrastructure to life via code in the ultra low latency space. He's been working for Morgan Stanley for close to 2 years and has over 20 years of experience building scalable and efficient solutions for complex technical challenges. He is originally from London, England, but currently resides in the Chicago suburbs with his family. In his free time, he enjoys exploring new culinary experiences and reading. Y'all, please give it up for Cam. We have Cam, absolutely. Cam, come to the stage. It's giving Cam. Absolutely.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Yes. We
Okay.
can't hear you right now.
Hello?
It's Cam o'clock.
I don't know if you guys can hear me. I'm on
Yeah.
here, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, we've kind of lost connectivity.
Let's see what's going on. Oh yeah,
Hello?
I can't hear you very well.
Hello, 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 hello. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm. 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 It's Cam. All right. Well, we're absolutely gonna have we're gonna be waiting on some technical situations. Oh, you can hear? Okay.
Hello?
Awesome. I can't hear specifically.
Okay, can you guys hear me? So, anyway, I'm here. I work for Morgan Stanley. And from what I do is working on the ultra low latency space. If you guys can hear me. Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello? Hello, 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 hello. Okay, you guys can hear me now. So, okay, great. Also, the latency space with Morgan Stanley, I've been here for a couple of years, 2 years, but I first started off when I graduated, when I left college in London. I worked for AIG and on mainframe systems, and then from there I moved on to oil and gas, whereby working with different oil companies, kind of delivering solutions for their doing proven probable reserves and how to bring the well logs onto online offshore from offshore onto onshore to be able to work with geoscientists to kind of work out how much of probable reserves they had. And that was college, right? So that was my first two gigs, and it was kind of interesting because at the time in London, we didn't have this situation whereby we could talk to all the different professionals and be able to give us a bit of opportunity. So it's about making opportunity yourself. Um, can you guys hear me now? What about now? Hello? Yeah. This now. Hopefully you guys can hear me now much better. Just shout if you can't. Okay. Okay, great. I was just reading all the messages that are coming through so you guys can hear me. Fantastic. So, what do you guys want to know? I work in ultra low latency. I've been working when I left London and I came to the US. I joined a company called DRW. A big eye opener for me because I met a few people that I met along the way, and they do have good programs for people, like for engineers. When I say ultra low latency, like you want to make things as fast as possible, right? So bringing bringing infrastructure to code is one big thing, but then it's about how you use that code. So in the financial space that we work in is about how can I get the best edge possible, and how can I use hardware, even though you play software on top, but how can you use hardware to get to that edge? And is how can I take a mundane thing that I do manually every day and turn it into code, right? So I see all this hardware that you guys write code on top of as just the same way you see variables in code. So that's what we try to do within the field that I work in. So like working with FPGA cards, which is the field programmable array cards that give you ultra low latent environments, to just view them as variables and try and get them out there. So that's what I say, bring infrastructure back to life using code. So it's taking the same ideology, and then I want to measure cable between Exchange and to my server. You can start using things like AI and machine learning to kind of calculate the types of distance between cable, what type of cable to use to plug to the back of your server. So those kind of things that we try to do in this space that we're working to give us more of an edge in that market. And how did I get there? Initially, as I said, I started off. My major was computer engineering, computer systems and electronics engineering to be exact, because I like chips, right? So all the processor chips that you play around with, I started from there. And when I learned how to manipulate a chip in ones and zeros, it took my knowledge a bit further. And then how do you manipulate that from all types in that environment, right? So going forth, you can still be a software engineer, but there's multiple ways of, or you can be a computer scientist, but you want to tap into parts that make the world go round, right? So AI is one big thing, but then you have the chipset that goes underneath it, which is your GPU, your CPU, your GPU cards. And how do you build those? How do you manipulate those? How many cores can you count? How you can utilize in that aspect? Questions, right? So what do you guys want to know, right? How do I get into this field? As I said, I started off in AIG, which is an insurance company in London, working on mainframes. And then from a friend of a friend, I got to join Schlumberger, and I traveled the world, working with all these big oil companies, providing services to the oil companies. Then I left, and after that, I moved to Reuters. So I was already working in the financial side of the oil company, doing proving on probable reserves, how to calculate it. So you take all the so you discover oil in the ocean or wherever you find it, off the coast. Then you bring that oil back in. You can prove how much oil you have within that well, right? So you can use either water to kind of pump in, or use natural gas to push it out, right? So you had to kind of write some engineering, some decision tree analysis to kind of see how much profit and models against it. So that modeling program helped me kind of move into the financial engineering world, right? So from there, I left and I joined Reuters to work on the back end of their systems, right? So from Reuters, I came to the US, settled in Chicago, and worked for a trading company, working on the low latency space. And I've been working in this environment for such a while. But everyone wants to get as fast as possible. But you before, back in the day, you used to just build one machine by hand, then you replicate it. But now you have all the different tools, from Terraform to Ansible to Python, to kind of manipulate hardware. So you build these APIs, and then from the APIs you can say, okay, I can spin up a data center. I can go to any data center, hypothetically in Kathmandu, and trade air against water and spin that data center up because I have a model, right? So you've now built a model to kind of just go anywhere and build any kind of information, any kind of trading rig, right? So that's how it goes. Questions? How much do I feel like my degree helped me get to this place? Quite a bit and not a bit, right? So because I worked on some parts of what I do is understanding chipsets, right? So yes, it did help me understand that level of what I wanted to do, and understand how you can manipulate that situation, how you can manipulate the hardware and get you the better edge, right? So it did help me in that sense, gave me a broader view. What it didn't help me is the networking piece, right? So yes, you made friends in college, but when you go to the real life, when you go to real industry, you don't get that understanding of, because you're coming out from college and you're going straight into the real industry, it doesn't give you that, you won't get that real balance between what to expect and how the world is going to utilize your skill set. Yes, I did. From a difference, yes. UK is very different, right? So it's about, I'll be honest with you, in America, it's all about, can you make me $1, right? So in the UK, it was more about an old boys network, right? And England is very more like a class system, if you understand that in that environment. So even though you could be the most qualified person in the UK for that job, it's not about your qualifications. It's about, at the time, when I was there anyway, wasn't about that. It was about, even if you're most qualified, they really didn't take you on that face value of your qualification, right? So it's about, they knew this person could do the job. They might be able to do the job more, maybe not, but they took that person first. But here it was more about, okay, you have the smarts, you have the brains, and it's about, can you make me $1 when I first came here? So that's how it turned out to be. But after a while, like initially coming out of college in the UK, it was a bit different. It was a bit difficult at the time, with the way the market was at that period of time, because it was the dot-com boom, the dot-com bubble happened, and then you were trying to navigate that world in that sense, right? So it did kind of trickle down into the UK, but luckily for me, I joined AIG to work on mainframes with very chipsets, right? In those RISC processors, right? So that was a bit funny. But in the UK, the tech field here is a bit more advanced, right? So even though you have some really smart engineers in the UK, you get to play with more technology here in the US. That's one good thing. I'm from a CSE major, right? So computer systems electronics. I think in my world, even though you can write applications, but if you do, you need to work both sides of the spectrum. That's how I see it, because I can write programs, but I can also manipulate hardware. And in the way the world is going into this AI kind of artificial intelligence, what are you going to, you're not going to be just using CPUs, right? There's going to be GPUs that are also going to be playing in the background. Maybe look at quantum computers, right? All these things are going to start. It's all about energy and how much energy you can use, but how you can manipulate ones and zeros to give you what you want, right? So you have to understand the technology, the underlying piece to put the software on top. But yeah, I would say you have to have a mixture of both. So, even though you're doing hypothetically, you're doing a computer systems or computer science major, also kind of balance yourself with technology, with the chipset and everything you're going to manipulate on top, underneath it, sorry. Yeah, it's a bit different. At the time, it was, right now is try and get yourself out there, like start presenting yourself to these companies, talking to get to the career fairs, talk to people, put yourself out there, put your best foot forward. That's what I would say, and align yourself to some of the major companies, or even small ones. Some people want to go to the big, thinking, it's the best place to start is at the big company. Sometimes it's always start from a medium-sized company, even a upstart company as well, right? They're more willing to take you on, and you can learn and then you sit down there and learn as much as you can, right? And that gives you the entry point. How does Morgan Stanley Tech Initiatives contribute to making a difference in society? We, currently we're doing a lot of, Morgan Stanley itself is trying to take on and pull back to society by, reaching out to underrepresented engineers and people as well. In that sense, or from what we're doing, we're going to all the different meetings, meeting up with new people, trying to bring in more underrepresented people into the Morgan Stanley as well. So we go to all the conferences as well, and try and present that. They have a couple of other initiatives within the company trying to make sure that we hire from underrepresented areas as well, and then fill those gaps in. Same thing. But it would be good. Now, when I'm talking to a lot of students as well, their focus is on AI, machine learning. But you have to look at, from my perspective, how many people will play around on chipsets, right? And manipulating hardware, work in the ultra low latency space. They have to kind of find a balance between those two. What role does research and development? Quite a bit, because I work for the engineering side, right? So I work with algo teams, right? So I have to be on point. If I'm going back to a team, telling them, "Oh, you want to use this chipset and this type of machine," we do a lot of research, and we do a lot of valuation, and do a lot of certification and testing, and then we'll put it under heavy load. So that's what a lot of things I do, is to build that rig, right, to be able to give us the ability to do that. So it does play a big role in the institutional side. So there's two sides to Morgan Stanley, right? So there's the wealth management side and there's the institutional side. The institutional side is where I work on, and the institutional side is where you trade equities and short and long-term interest rates, all those other pieces of swaps and everything, X, Y, Z. So on that side of the market, of the fence, I work on institutions. So a lot of technology is used in order to make us as quick as possible. And there's a lot of research to do in different types of FPGA cards and all the types of technology that we can use to manipulate, even AI, using GPUs and building out rigs and building, market rigs in order to be able to consume a lot of market data, and then take that data, manipulate it, and make decisions on it as quickly as possible. How has advances in AI advanced Morgan Stanley? It has quite a bit. They're looking at ways to use it to understand, what kind of trends are going on within the market in order to capitalize on it, right? So we're growing that space, and from an institutional side as well, right? So on the institutional side, we're looking at how we use the AI to kind of we kind of had had a competition not so long ago, where my team, out of the 400 people, my team was in the top 20, right? So we kind of used AI to kind of see how we could use AI and chatbot to kind of build, do it's almost like a chat ops, but anyway, figure out what kind of systems we have and then build them from, I'm a hypothetical, I want to trade air against sand, for example, in Kathmandu. It will automatically tell me what type of rig and calculate all that information for me. Oh, how linear or non-linear was the career path up until now? Um, when I first left college, and it was a bit odd, right? So it was a flat. It's only up until coming to the US where I see my trajectory China change, right? So in the UK it was a bit flat, but here it's always been up, almost an upwards, right? So I've when I first joined Morgan Stanley, I was a VP, and then I left because I was always striving for the better. And I came back, as they told me to come back because they needed my skill set, and I came back, and I became an ED, right? So I've been a manager. I've been running a group of engineers. I started off, working with a bunch of really good engineers, but it's fantastic. So it's almost an upwards. It's been topsy turvy, but you get there, right? So you have to ride the wave, and then take advantage of when the wave is on the, when you have a big wave, you want to go for it. Just go for it. Take that chance. They have quite a lot diversity. They have the whole, some people. There's a big team, and they are big and hot on the heels of diversity initiatives within Morgan Stanley. They're looking, I would love to have, see more female engineers within the, there's quite a few, but I want to see more female engineers in the ultra low latency space, right? And that kind of balances out, so I don't want to be a dominated environment, but I would like to see, more women in STEM kind of come into Morgan Stanley and taking a chance, right? And that's the good thing. And it's interesting to see how they promote. They really want to. They really want to grow that environment and have more representation within the company. Um, More, I think it's about Morgan Stanley putting itself out there a bit more, like going to colleges, going to different areas, and making sure they're catching. What I've noticed is not everyone knows about this side of where I work, right? So very few people will understand what I do, and very few people have been given this opportunity, right? So it's about, same thing I said to my boss one day. It was like, it would be nice to go out to colleges and talk about ultra low latency space that we work in, and so, get people more interested in that environment. And we go to, when I went to this Afrotech, for example, or for the for NESB, try and represent and talk about what we do from an institutional side. Would be kind of great, and Morgan Stanley is willing to present that as well. Yes, and I mean it's a very competitive space from what I was told. But they do have programs, but then it's more for sophomores and juniors and seniors, really, really and truly. But very more to the last two, right? More for juniors and seniors, but sophomores they do have some spaces, but it's very limited. I think, and it's something they need to grow. What advice? I tell you, when I first graduated from college, I did CSE, and my first job was to be sitting behind a desk doing writing code. And the first week in there, I realized it wasn't really for me because in a day, yes, I like to write code, but I like to tinker on hardware, right? So that's when I realized it wasn't my thing. So I kind of switched positions, right, and took went more into the system engineering. It's about finding what you try and do, as you're in college, try and get as much internships as possible, right? So try different things out. Like maybe in your junior, sophomore year, try and get an internship at some electronics company or some other company, software company, see what fits you. It's finding where your niche is. And when you find that sweet spot, you look for, then you hone in on it and make yourself better. Oh, what would I give myself as a young engineer? Honestly speaking, I was going to be an aeronautical engineer when I was young. And I realized when I looked at the aeronautical environment, it wasn't going the way I was thinking it was going to go. That's when I switched to computers. That, my old self telling my younger self, future Chem telling past Chem, what would I be doing? It's like, past Chem, future Chem would tell past Chem, yeah, you're on the right path. But, if and when opportunity comes your way, take it. Just don't rest on your laurels. Make hay while the sun shines when the opportunity comes around knocking on your door. How's my affected my journey? Do you believe pathways? It's a bit different for me. In England, it was a bit harder. Coming here, it seemed a bit different. One, because I had an English accent, kind of gave it away. But then in the UK, everyone spoke the same way I spoke, the way I speak anyway. So it was a bit difficult. Here, it opened more doors for me in America than it did for me in the UK. Even though I was, qualified enough. But I mean, don't give up. Right? That was the thing, your perseverance, right? When I first moved to here, it was a bit difficult, um, but once the door's opened, it opens up, right? And you just when you get that opportunity, as I said, make as many contacts as possible, right? Even in college, right? Make as many contacts. Join all the, if you feel like you want to do engineering and you want to join certain companies, join the different business. Join the different ISOs, right, and make sure that you get yourself out there. Don't be afraid. Yes, you can party, you can enjoy yourself, but at the same time, think about, when you take one step back, always think about the future step, right? So, look forward, and then where you can place yourself for the future. So make as many contacts in that world, and then when it comes down to it, you call on those contacts. Like, hey, I'm done. What's going on, right? Always keep those doors open. Open as many doors as possible. Hardship. It's a bit difficult. It's different in the UK than it was here because the school fees here was ridiculous, right? But in the UK, it was just like it was like pizza money for in the UK because at the time UK you didn't pay much, so you didn't pay anything about school fees. Now it's a bit difficult. I understand, but and I remember when I was in further education, future education. I graduated from high school. You're in high school, you go to, you have your 2 years, so 16 and 18, right? So in those 2 years when you're doing your A levels, and a couple of my friends that I went to school with at the time were like, you know what, we're just going to leave, finish at 18 and go straight and work, right? And I was like, why would you? Just do your 4 years of penance in college. And you come out, you'll be better and find yourself a job, right? So that's how it was in the UK, right? So I would say the same thing, just power through it, come out with your degree. Yeah, it might be, might not, you might think there's nothing at the end of it, but there will be. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. But whilst there, make as many connections as possible, and that will help you. I think internships are hard to get to. It's a whole job trying, but never give up, right? If you feel like find different parts of internships that you want to join.
Yes, thank you so much, Cam. I want everyone to give Cam all the claps. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's see it in the chat as well. So much love for Cam. Thank you so much. We are going to do a giveaway question, and that giveaway question is right here. Are we ready? Okay. Where is Cam based out of now? Edwin got it. Edwin. I think I saw Edwin. Now, y'all, hold on. Let's see. Edwin got it. Congratulations. The Color Stack team will be reaching out early next week to see about your giveaway. That was so yummy. Thank you so much, Cam, and to the Morgan Stanley team. Now we're going to transition into 15 minutes of roundtables in the lounge space. We also have general networking tables hosted by other members of the Color Stack team. So feel free to join either table. And at 2:15, we have the session with Sam Sara, a crash course in AI. So I will see you there next. Thank you.